is Amateur Woodworking with AZ Evans. Now, kiddos, it's been a little while since I put a video out. Now, that's because this is amateur woodworking. We do have other things going on in our lives that keep us from doing our hobbies. Now, what I want to get into is kind of what's been going on in the last, 4 or 5 weeks, what I've been doing, what little I've been doing, which hasn't been a whole lot. Now, if you remember correctly, I got in the Laguna bandsaw, and this has worked out really well. And you can see right here the bandsaw blade that's in here, and this has been set up for doing resaw work. But now I have an application, and I'm still working on the jewelry boxes. So I had purchased a new blade. And with this particular bandsaw, when you start getting down to these very thin blades, and I purchased this blade. Now this is a 150-inch long blade that goes on that bandsaw, and you can see it's actually only 3/16 in its width here. So now Laguna suggests that you run, you can't run that blade without a new set of cool blocks. Well, so I purchased the new cool blocks. Now they're not installed yet, but I need to do some scroll work over there, so that's why I purchased this stuff. Well, you know, this being amateur woodworking, I thought maybe we should look into a little bit of the nomenclature and the specifics about a bandsaw blade. So we did have this piece drawn up just so you can see a little bit about bandsaw how-dos. And you know, this is going to show your tooth face, your tooth spacing, your pitch, the number of teeth per inch between these, your gullet depth, your set side. Now if you look back here, you know, we do have what would be like chip, and what they're suggesting what a chip actually is, chip clearance, cutting rate, feed rate, your gullet. Now this is very important when you're setting these cool blocks, because they do refer to the gullet depth. So you can see your gullet depth up here. Now your kerf, now that's the width of your blade. And that's kind of important if you're trying to conserve material. And then your pitch, that's number of teeth per inch. And then your set. Now guys, this is not everything that you would need to know about a bandsaw blade. This right here will make you dangerous. So later on in another video, I'm going to set this thing up. And I have never actually set these cool blocks up before. And I've looked on the Laguna website to see if they had an information video on setting these up. I haven't seen it. So I'm going to get this set up. I'm going to do some scroll work on it. And we will have another video on that. But now there's other things that I've been up to. And that all refers back to the jewelry box that I'm making. Now, if camera girl will come up here, I'm going to show you the front face of the jewelry box that I'm building. And you can see here I have the key slot. I'm going to roll it over on the top. You can see this has been mortised on the top for the lock. And now on the back you can see the mortise for the lock also. Now I've got this mortise for a flush mount. Let me show you. This right here is how I would mount this particular lock set, and this lock set is from Paxton. These lock sets are made in England. Very high quality, they're $20 a pop. Now let's pop this out of here. And you're going to be looking at these mortises and you're going to be thinking, well, how in the world did he get square corners in there? Well, now we have this particular tool here, and I'm not quite sure where I bought this from, but as you can see, it's got a chisel edge on it that is square for a corner. And that is actually what I use to square these corners off. So you can see that. Now later on, if I have enough interest, I'll show you exactly how this works, but I need interest in it. And then of course we've got the key slot hole right here. Now let's talk a little bit about how I did mortise this in. And that's going to be with jigs. And what I've done is I've measured my lock, and then I built a jig for each operation to mortise this into the face of the jewelry boxes that I'm making. And you can kind of look at this a little bit. We'll actually put this piece of material in here. And you can see how with my router I mortise this out. Now each jig has a different application, and this one here, of course, put my mortise on the top side. Now you guys are probably wondering, well, what kind of a router bit did he use for mortising these out for the lock set? So over here, I do have the router, because I've been working on these. I'm not done with them yet. I still have 5 more to do just on the front face of this lock set. But if you'll blow up on this, you can see what I have here is a 3/8 router bit, but it runs on a bearing. And that right there lets me flush cut these mortises. And that's really nice and very handy to actually do your mortising work. Now that's kind of where I'm at today, and I know it's been a little while since I've actually done a video, and I'm going to come back and do more. I'd like to see more interest from you kiddos, and I can show you how I'm setting up, you know, these particular jigs on my pedestal that I built for these particular lock sets. You know, just to keep you up to date, see what I've been doing, why I haven't been around. Get a hold of me, we'll talk about it, and later on we will do more videos depending on your requests. Now I want you to remember that when you're doing your woodworking, you need to adhere to the safety. You need to wear your safety glasses. You need to wear your hearing aids or hearing protection. Me, myself, you know, when I'm doing routing like this, I'm actually using this system here that keeps the particulate from coming into my lungs. And this works out really great because I'm blowing all this material back at me when I'm routing in these mortises. Now, with that being said, this has been Amateur Woodworking with AC Evans, and I'll see you on the next video. Safety first, guys.